My name is Michal. I am a Mizrahi woman, a mother to a daughter who is a woman in her own right, a professor of constitutional law, and a member of the Israeli Law Professor Forum for Democracy. 2 years ago, I came to UC Berkeley to teach students about the constitutional law of Israel and about human and civil rights in Israel. I tell my students that it is crucial to study the legal system in Israel because it is the only democracy in the Middle East. I want to be able to continue to say so. That is why I am here today to say no to a regime change that is sure to end Israel's democracy. As the 75th anniversary of the establishment of the State of Israel approaches, the current Israeli government aims to destroy the legal system in a way that enables massive violation of civil and human rights. Each of the regressive legal changes it is proposing would be extremely harmful on its own, but in totality, these changes will give rise to a dictatorship of governance by eliminating the only checks and balances that preserves Israel's democracy, flawed as it may be. In non-democratic regimes, women's rights tend to be the first to suffer. We cannot stand by and let this happen. We cannot tolerate the promotion of structural discriminations against women, especially as we celebrate Women's History Month. From day one, Israel was established as a Jewish and a democratic state with equal rights for women. Israel's founding document declared that the new state would ensure equality for all citizens, including women. The first Knesset enacted the Women's Equal Rights Law to guarantee equal status to men and women. Indeed, women's rights in Israel are far from being perfect. From exclusive jurisdiction of the rabbinical court over marriage and divorce, to domestic violence against women, discrimination of women in the workplace, exclusion from the public sphere, and so on. But still, we have seen significant progress in women's rights through the years, thanks to hard work of many brave women and the protection of the Supreme Court. Instead of continuing this process, the current government aims to take us back a generation. A quick look at some of the current Israeli coalition's radical proposal for change is terrifying. Extension of the jurisdiction of the rabbinical court, permission to refuse services on the grounds of religious beliefs, abolishments of certain prerequisites to paramedical profession, and so on. The judicial reform, under the pretext of trying to help underrepresented voices, is actually going to harm the most vulnerable communities, such as women whose husbands or partners will be able to get a license to hold a gun at home almost without restrictions. And if we are talking about going backward, this coalition has very few women, and it includes two parties that exclude women entirely. In all the government ministries, only one woman has been appointed as a director. We stand here to say no more to exclusion and no more to discrimination. There is no such thing as separate but equal. There is only equal. The Israeli Supreme Court has consistently protected the rights of the Israeli citizens. Throughout the decades, it upheld rights for all groups seeking judicial relief in a diverse society, whether they were marginalized communities, ethnic minorities, LGBTQ, women, or any other group. These groups all had reasonable expectation of a fair judicial review from the court when facing governmental mistreatments. Over the years, the Supreme Court has been headed by impressive Chief Justices. The current Chief Justice is the third woman to serve in this role. She and her formers have earned the position through excellence and seniority. The proposed so-called reform presents significant roadblocks for future deserving female candidates eliminating seniority in favor of governmental preference. We express our support for two brave women who stand now on the front line of the battle. Chief Justice Esther Hayut and Attorney General Gali Barab Miara. You are pillars of strength against an onslaught of power-hungry politicians who are attempting to conduct a coup d'etat under the pretense of a reform. Stay strong and continue making your voices heard. You are shining examples of true leadership, showing us what we have always known. We are better off and safer under the watch of powerful, caring women. We need to make sure these women are not fighting alone. As it is too often the case, women are hesitant to speak out loudly and demand their position be heard. At this time, when the very foundations of Israel's democracy are under threat, we must stand up and fight for democracy while we still can. Because if we sit by idly, we may lose our fundamental right to do so. We have our solidarity, we have our collective force of power, and we also have amazing men as our allies. The machinery of power will never defeat the power of our human will. United we stand up in the face of this oncoming storm, and we will prevail. We will defeat this imminent threat to Israel's democracy and take one more step towards true gender equity.